Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is January 19th, 2021, and this is episode 182. Today we're looking at King in Black. This is number 3 from Marvel. Comes in at a whopping $4.99. And let's take a quick look at this cover. It's a little hard to tell what's going on, but this is the god of thunder there, Thor. He's taken on Knull, the king of the symbiotes. And it looks almost like it's taking place underwater. Now, they do get into a pretty good fight in here. This exact scene isn't really in there, but they do fight and tussle for a few pages. So overall, this is still a recommend. I'm not as crazy as I was as like issue 1. I thought was just tremendous, and issue 2 leveled off. This is still kind of in that leveling off phase, I believe. So let's take a look to see who has worked on this. This is chapter 3, Thunder. So we know it's going to be about Thor mostly, and indeed it is. Donny Cates is the writer. Ryan Stegman is the penciler. And the inker is J.P. Mayer with Frank Martin on colors. Okay. We get a nice little blurb of what's kind of happened up to this point. As you recall, Eddie Brock was pretty much knocked out in the first issue. At the end of the first issue, he was going off in different tangents, depending if you were reading Venom or if you were sticking with the King in Black main story. And we did take a look at the Venom story in here as well. So it's not as compelling as the main story, I think. So what's going on is Dylan Brock, who's Eddie's son, has kind of taken over. And as we start the whole show here on this page, we get this narrative here, this kind of spooky type narrative that kind of leads into Dylan feeling the loss of his father, Eddie. Now, we're not so sure that Eddie is certainly gone, but what we have discovered is Dylan has some kind of symbiotic powers or some kind of superhuman powers. It appears to be symbiotic. And things aren't going well for the superheroes out here. We've got Sue Richards fighting alongside Blade, and Reed Richards is trying to do the play-by-play. Well, Sue Richards is actually concentrating so hard she's getting a nosebleed. Spidey's trying to talk Dylan into going out and fighting or getting away from. I'm not sure what they're trying to do with him, but he says he'll do it, and you can see his look here. Meanwhile, Reed Richards is kind of from the control center is sending out commands and news to everybody else of what's going on, and things aren't going very well. So they make a break for it with Dylan. They're trying to move him somewhere. I'm not quite sure where, but they realize he has great power within him. And as they're moving out, they get attacked by the Captain America that has been taken over by one of the symbiotic suits and is under the control of Knull. But Dylan begins to show some of his power. He catches the shield that's thrown at him with ease, and he transmits his own power into Captain America, knocking the symbiote off him. So Captain America now is back in on the side of good. In the meantime, Knull feels this power surge that had gone through him, and he realizes the child is here. And he believes Dylan is actually his child. Well, of course, he's Dylan's, Eddie Brock's child, but because of the symbiote connection, he wants this kid. So we see this gigantic symbiotic hand going for Dylan here, and it actually captures him and is starting to pull him down. Meanwhile, Captain America is calling for help, and in comes Thor. So Thor's able to hit this symbiotic thing with his hammer and knock it off Dylan for the moment. And as you can see, he's getting surrounded by all these attackers that have the symbiote on them. And we go back and forth, and a lot of screeching going on, a lot of inner thought. I'm not sure who's doing the narration on this right now. It doesn't really seem like Dylan, but it could be Dylan doing it. And then Mike Hobson, of course, he was in the last issue, or one of the last issues we reviewed here. So it continues on that Thor and Knull are just going at it. They're just pounding each other. Here's a nice shot of it there. The art in here has always been pretty good. Ryan Stegman's doing a nice job with all the action shots. And we get even another more incredible. Here's a kind of a preview for King in Black, by the way. Call it Absolute Darkness, coming out next month. So just when Thor thinks he's got an upper hand on it, Knull pins him down hard, and Dylan tries to come to his rescue, and Knull's able to power him off, knock him away, and send more symbiote towards him. And you can see it's just crushing. It's claustrophobic. There's Dylan. He's getting wrapped up pretty good, and Thor's able to free himself for the moment, but Dylan's almost completely gone at this point. We got an ad for the Eternals 2. We did a review of the Eternals 1. It was not a recommend, but I will pick up Eternals 2. They have trotted out Thanos because I guess he was such a big hit during the teens. They're hoping for the 20s, perhaps, he'll get everything jump-started again from Marvel. So we do have Icarus versus Thanos in the next issue. Now let's get back to our King in Black story. Already in progress. And so Knull continue on against Thor. They're just kind of going back and forth. But Thor seems to be losing ground in this whole thing. We get this nice shot where Thor just really wails on Knull. It's just beautiful drawing there. But still not enough. And it looks like Knull's got another trick up his sleeve. Just can't be stopped at this point. And he's released the Celestrals. Celestrals? Is that there? Yeah. To help out too. So we get another ad. Lots of ads in Marvel and DC, as you can tell. There's another ad here. So Thor's just trying to hold together this part, and he's calling for help. And this is when we get, you can see Nola's got Thor from behind here now. Actually drove his arm through Thor there. So Thor's not doing so good, but here comes Iron Man, the symbiote Iron Man, riding a dragon. And he's coming in to help save the day. Will it be enough? I don't know. Let's see. So he's able to force the Celestials to fight each other like rock'em sock'em robots. That's one of the things that Iron Man has the power now, because he can kind of tap into the symbiote and get them to do what is required. So Dylan is starting to maybe even get away now a little bit, but Thor's not in good shape. He's getting kind of bent over, and their last issue attempt, they send these birds out into past the symbiotic coating that's covering the entire Earth and sending out for help. And here comes the Silver Surfer coming in from the galaxy to help out. And this is where it ends. To be continued. So not too much was concluded in this issue. It just kind of stretched out the action. So there's a lot more conflicts going on. We have Thor involved. Now we have Silver Surfer come in. Some of the superheroes are starting to fail a little bit. Obviously, Dylan has ventured out of his bunker and into the fight himself, and he did pretty good at first, but obviously he was overpowered. So we'll see if he picks up power in the next one, or if he becomes part of Knull. It could go either way at this point. Like I said, the first issue is really tremendous. These last two were more of just kind of placeholders to move the story along. And here's Maestro, War and Pax. Emperor was never enough. Let's take a look at some of the other things. Here's some variant covers coming up. Well, actually not variant, but the other King in Black storylines that we'll be seeing pretty soon here. If you want to pause and take a look at some of these, a lot of different covers. It's crazy. King in Black's a big series, so I don't know how well it's doing overall, but I am enjoying the King in Black main story and also the King in Black, The Union. That one I've been enjoying as well. So let's take a look at the checklist for the month of January. We reviewed Venom number 32. As I recall, I wasn't that keen on it. Let's see if there's anything else here that we have reviewed. Up to here, Union number 2. I gave that a recommend. That's kind of a fun, more of a fun, not as quite as dark as the main story is. And it's taking place in England right now, so I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. We just finished King in Black number 3. It is a recommend. I'm recommending it for now. We have Deadpool number 10 that's linked into here. I might check out this Black Knight number 1. We'll see if that'll be worthy of a review. I try to pick books that I think are going to be good. I don't try to pick ones to roast, but sometimes I do get some clunkers in there. So they also had a couple ads for the Eternals in here. This one's the Jack Kirby version, and then they also had the Neil Gaiman version. And we get a final look at the King in Black number 4 cover, which will be coming out in February. So it's a little hard to see what's going on in this, but looks like some X-Men action. We need those X-Men back. And there you have it. So thank you very much for stopping by the Temple of Tomes and listening to this review. As always, please subscribe. Please like. Please leave comments. And we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. And remember, I have reviewed DC... Well, if you don't know, DCeased, Dead Planet number 7. That wrapped up the series, and I put that review out there today. It's a hint I didn't recommend it. I recommended all 6 issues up to it, and then I was a little disappointed by the climax of that. And I'm probably the only one that was, but I am the dissenting vote on the issue there. So, King Black, recommend. We'll see you next time. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones from the Temple of Tomes bidding you adieu.